It's a landscaping detail that often gets overlooked. A good ground cover can go a long way, adding a lush, vibrant touch to your yard without much upkeep. So today we're helping you choose the best ground cover for your space. Carly Wood is joining me. She's a garden educator and enthusiast. She's here to share her expert advice. We hang on her every word. You point us in the best direction. So thanks for taking this on today.
Yeah.
Ground cover, I think, is obviously like there's a practical nature to it. It covers a lot of space. It's really pretty, but you say there's more to it than even just the aesthetic.
Yeah, and I mean, if it's coming down to weed suppression, there's been studies that it changes your whole ambient temperature of your space. So if you're thinking about being on concrete or asphalt versus being somewhere where there's plants covering the ground, it can totally change your temperature, maybe 15 to 20 degrees.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Weed suppression, what else have I talked about? Or soil erosion, so if you have maybe a hillside or something where things can slide down,
yeah,
just helps hold things in place. And then obviously, like you said, it looks pretty.
It looks lovely. We've asked you to identify a few of your favorites. Before we get into the list, can you pair different ground covers together?
Sure. And I mean, but you want to think about if you're planting something that's super aggressive versus something that's a little bit low and tight to the ground, one might overtake the other. So just kind of knowing your ground cover.
They have to play nicely.
Yes.
All right. Starting off on your favorites list, creeping phlox.
Okay, and that's this one up here.
Okay.
And the thing that's so fun about phlox is it comes in tons of different colors, like pinks, purples, whites, lavenders, blues.
I like the spatial separation. That's kind of fun.
And it's semi-evergreen, so it looks good all year round.
Okay.
And this one's just about done blooming. It's a good springtime bloomer. It's hardy. It's really good for if you have rock, some people have rock work, rock walls.
Yeah.
Fills in good, trails down.
With the pretty blooms
Looks
to
pretty,
top it off. Is it Aubretia?
Yeah, Aubretia is, we don't have that one. I think it's on your
I think we have some photos of it, Aubretia.
Yes. So Aubretia is the same thing. I feel like it's almost like the pretty sister to Phlox.
Okay.
The foliage looks a little bit nicer. It's maybe semi-evergreen also, but it just looks a little bit tidier. It's got a pretty purple, usually purple, but you can have it in other colors too. Same thing, looks good in rocks. It looks good with Phlox together. They kind of bloom similar times.
They pair and they get along?
Yeah.
This sounds like one I'd love, Candytuft.
Yes, and this is this cute little white bloom.
Oh, I do love that.
And this is like a sub-shrub. She stays, you can see, I don't know.
I like that you gave her a female pronoun.
Yeah.
She stays just, 6 inches from the ground.
Yeah, but she's evergreen also, so another good for winter interest all year.
Okay.
Blooms in the spring, does good on hillsides, rock work, filling in space.
So when you say evergreen, it blooms in the spring, but then once it's discarded, it's still lovely to look at.
Yes, you've still got your green foliage, and even in the winter when everything else is brown and dying, she's got a nice
she has a nice green color to her. All right, snow in summer was another favorite.
Yes, and this is this one right here, and I love this one because it's kind of got a silvery foliage. You can see it's this right here too.
It's texturous. It's really fun to, you want to touch it.
Yes, and it's an early summer bloomer, so we'll be coming into bloom soon, and it's got a white bloom, so that's why it's called
early snow.
The snow.
Snow in summer.
Yes.
This looks like it would kind of go wild.
It doesn't really.
No?
I've got some in my yard. I feel like it fills in really nice.
Okay.
Same thing again. This one can do well in rocks, hillsides. Just looks pretty, kind of spilling over.
Okay, creeping Speedwell.
Okay, I think that one we might have.
We have some photos.
I
know
do
too.
photos, and then I've got some right here also.
Okay, good.
Same thing. Early summer bloomer. It's usually purples and pinks. It stays a little bit lower. Good for rocks. I feel like these are all kind of small ground covers that we're talking about here that are not super aggressive.
Not overtaking. All right, Lamium?
Yeah, Lamium.
Lamium.
That's this one right here, and this comes in pink, purple. I think there's a white. Sometimes you can get on the foliage, this one has kind of a silvery. Sometimes it will be bicolor with white. So it gives good interest as far as foliage goes.
Is this good for sun,
this
shade?
This loves shade.
Shade.
So if you have an area that you need to fill in, but shady might be, all these other ones we've talked about so far, more of sun.
More sun.
So this is a good shade one.
Another good shade one on your list is the sweet Woodruff.
Oh, and I love sweet Woodruff.
Hands over her heart. Hands over her heart.
Yes. And it's actually an herb.
Oh.
But it just kind of fills in, and it also can do really well in shade, or if you have kind of damp areas, it will spread quicker than if it's more dry.
Okay.
But it can handle both. It gets this little whir of a white flower. It's mine's blooming right now in my yard.
Okay.
So it's kind of late spring, early summer.
And another herb, thyme.
Yes.
You say makes a good filler.
And there's so many kinds of thyme. This one I brought today is woolly thyme, so you can see it has that nice, I don't know, kind of furry texture, and it's a little bit silvery. But there are so many kinds of thymes that are used not for culinary, but for just ground cover purposes. And they also grow a little bit tight to the ground, and they can be good to like you can step on them.
Okay.
They're steppable. Same
Yeah.
as Speedwell. I don't know if I talked about that with
But they're
Speedwell.
good for traffic.
Yes.
We've got a list of larger ground covers. I'll just tick through a few. We're running out of time. But
Okay.
Bishop's Weed, you like that one. You like Vinca. You like St. John's Wort.
Mm-hmm.
We've put together your favorites on one list. Are these all pretty easy to buy here in Utah?
Yes, and what I was going to say too is that all of these that I brought today are grown from Butterfield Gardens, which they're a local Utah company. They're awesome, and they supply, I would say, like a lot of the nurseries we have here in Utah, and they supply all the Walmarts and Home Depots. So they give all their ground covers to Olson's greenhouses.
Nice.
And then they go out, so you can find locally grown
Nice.
like ground covers, and they do an awesome job. They have
Nice.
great ground covers to choose from.
Well, whether it's a small area or a large area, Carly has you covered. So be sure to go to our website and look at her comprehensive list of recommendations. And where can we get additional information from you?
So on Instagram, I'm the Garden Spot, and then I have a website too, but all my socials are linked from there. So
The Garden Spot, give her a follow. She'll be your best girlfriend as you get into gardening season for 2024. You're so good at this. So thanks for bringing us along.
yes, thank you.
We appreciate it.